Okay? A sequence is called arithmetic if you always add to find successive terms in the sequence. And you can add positive numbers and the sequence will grow, or you could add negative numbers and the sequence will get smaller. Okay? So the formula, you start at the first stepping stone. What is that? A1 plus how many steps do I take? N minus 1. And how long is each step? The difference or D. Good. I'm hoping that makes sense. So then A sub n is any term. A sub 1 is first term. N is the position of A sub n, and D is the difference. And sometimes people call it the common difference. Good. So A sub n equals, what's the first stepping stone? 3. How many steps do I take to get there? N minus 1. And how much is each step? Now you say 5. Okay? So if I clean that up, do you see 5n? Do you see negative 5 plus 3? Which means to find any term, if I plug in 7, I'll get the 7th term, right? Okay. So you do 5. So A sub n is, who's the first stepping stone? 20 plus, how many steps do I take? N minus 1. 1 less than the stepping stone I want to get to, right? And how big is each step? 3. Which becomes 3n what? Plus 17 once we clean it up. You're right. And then to get A sub 10, I plug in 10 into this formula, which is 3 times 10 plus 17. And what do we get? 47. Okay? Now, remember these from yesterday's homework? Let me start with the big one. A sub n equals A sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. I'm hoping you're getting used to that. Who is the 21st term? 62 is, we don't know the first term, but which term is 62? 21st. And we don't know the d value. Let's take the 9th term. Who is the 9th term? 14. We don't know the first term. Who is 14? 9th term. And so we get 62 equals A sub 1 plus 20d. And 14 equals A sub 1 plus 8d. How do I eliminate the A sub 1? Subtract, good. Subtract everything. So is that 48? A sub 1s are gone. Is that 12d? So d is 4. Okay. Then I go over here, and I'll take this equation. 14 equals A sub 1 plus 8 times, we now know who D is. What is it? 4. So that's 32. So when I solve for a sub 1, what do I get? Negative 18. Good plan. So then a sub n, that's the first goal, is who's the first stepping stone? Negative 18 plus how many steps generically? N minus 1. And what's the D value? 4, right? And I clean that up, but I want to jump to the next part. I want a sub 10. So plug in 10 here, and I'll wait for your answer. 18. Okay, so up to there is a review of yesterday. For those of you that had some homework questions, maybe the review will help you. In the meantime, we're going to move ahead. So, what does S sub n mean? What does S mean? You remember? What word starts with S? Sigma's not bad, but that's not quite what I want. Sum. Sum. We're going to add the sum of the first how many terms? 10. So 2 plus 5 plus 8 plus 11 plus who? 14 plus 17 plus 20 plus 23. Are we done yet? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is that right? Now, nobody wants to add this, but there's a shortcut. You ready? This is 31. 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 How many pairs do I have? 5. I'm hoping the sum is 155. You like that? Good. If I do this one, what's that sum? 23. What's that? 23. What's that? It's 23 times 3. What's that? 69. Oh my gosh. You ready? What's the last term? 100. Good. Who's the next to last term? Who's the next to last term? What's that? What's that? What's that? 101. And how many pairs do I have? 50. Good. I bet you it's 50-50. Isn't that better than listing all 100 numbers? Now, we did the same thing each time. Watch. What's that? Which is the meaning, first term. And who is that? Last term. If n is the number of terms in the list. Didn't I add the first and last term together? First and last, first and last, first and last. Now, how many terms were there altogether? It's n, right? But how many pairs do I have? Divide by 2. And S sub n for this arithmetic series is this nice compact formula, which I hope makes sense because I used it over and over and over. So there's the formula. Now, of these terms here, who have we seen before special? This one, right? So let's borrow something that we've used before. That's any stepping stone, right? What stepping stone do I start at? What stepping stone do I start at? A1. How many steps do I take? And minus 1, how big are my steps? D. That I can replace the A sub n with this, and it means the same thing, right? So the sum can also be written this way. One of the A sub 1's, another A sub 1 is 2A sub 1, right? Plus n minus 1 times d. Now this is a nice formula if I know the first term, last term, and the number of terms, like I did in the previous example. But if I look at these questions below, look at dot, dot, dot. I don't know. Let's do this. I want the sum of the first 12. Do you want to list all 12 first and then add them? Or check this out. How many terms are there? 12. Who is the first term? Double it. How many terms am I looking at? 12. And what's my d value? 3. I have everything without knowing the last term. We're in good shape, right? You go ahead and work this out. Okay, we'll say that and hope it's right. All right? See if you can do the same thing with B. All right, let me start. So we're going to find the sum of the first what? 12 numbers. This means the sum goes on forever. But we're going to stop at 12 for this question. All right? So, how many terms? 12. Cut that in half because we're going to pair them. Since we don't know the last term, we're going to try this second formula. Who is the first term? 20. And then double it, we get 40. Plus, how many terms? 12 minus, which is also the number of steps, right? And how big is each step? -2. And if Mr. Mori forgets the parentheses, what is going to happen? The other Mr. Mori is going to take points off, right? And so you crank that out, and what answers did you get? 108. Anybody else? Yes? Uh-huh. Right on? Okay. So just doing this one, it's that same thing we did before, right? Where we'll start with this. A sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. And I'll color code my notes this time. I'll take the bigger one. -36 is the 15th term. I don't know the first term, but -36 is the 15th term, thank you. And I don't know D. The other equation, I'm going to do in blue, 9 is the 6th term. I don't know the first term, plus 9 is the 6th term, and I don't know D. So the red equation is negative 36 equals a sub 1 plus 14d. And the blue equation is 9 equals a sub 1 plus 5d. If I subtract them, be careful, it's negative 45, right? Equals 9d, and d is 5 is close, negative 5 is better, right? And then I'll take, let's say, one of the equations. The blue one looks less scary. So 9 equals a sub 1 plus 5 times negative 5. And so a sub 1 is it 34? And then I'm going to stop and say, well, now I can use that formula for the sum of 12 terms. I'll just set it up. It's 12 over 2 times 2 times the first term. Is that it? Plus, I have 12 terms, so how many steps? 11. And how long is each step? Negative 5. That's the d I found. And that'll be the sum of all the terms, starting with the first term up to the 12th term. Notice this went to the 15th term. I just used it to get the information. Okay? Same idea here. Let me jump down to, okay, we did this, let's see, which one do I want to do? So, find a sub 1 and d, let's see. Looking at this, I have, oh, I can do this. S sub n equals n over 2, first term and last term. I think I have everything. Let's see. Who is this? This guy, which is 345. Good. This is what? 15, the number of terms. This is, oh, I don't have it yet. Doggone it. A sub 1, but I do have a sub n, don't I? Wait a second. Could I now use some algebra there and find a sub 1? Now, for the sake of time, I'm saying it's set up. You can go back and do it. So once you do that, then you take this formula we know a sub n, that's going to be 65. In a moment, we're going to know a sub 1, aren't we? 65 is the 15th term. And now I'll be able to find d once I find a sub 1. So I'm going to find a sub 1 from this formula, and then I'm going to find d from this formula. I don't think you're going to want to expand this. You have a life, don't you? But watch this. S sub n, what does that mean? The sum of the terms, n over 2, a sub 1, what does that mean? First term. A sub n, what does that mean? Last term. How many terms are there if I count from 1 to 200? 200. By the way, look, what do I get when I take 200 minus 1? 99, or 199. You know that's wrong, right? Because when you count, 1 is 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3, right? 1, 2, 3, there's 3 terms. So all the way to 200, there are 200 terms. We'll need that for the next idea. Who is the first term? Plug in 1. What do you get? 15. Plus, who's the last term? Plug in 200. 612. And then I'm going to assume you can do the arithmetic there. Last one. Same thing. S sub n equals n over 2 a sub 1 plus a sub n. Let me start over here. To get the first term, I plug in who? 6, the first number. And I get 24 minus 7, I believe that's 17. Plus, I plug in 52 for the last term, and I get 208 minus 7. I think that's 201. Does that look right? Be careful, be careful, be careful. From 6 to 52, how many numbers are there? The wrong answer is 46. The right answer is 45. Because over here, what did we do? If I subtract, I'll get 199, right? But I know it's 200. So I use my brain. Oh, what did I do wrong? I'm such an idiot. This should be what? I subtracted, I get 46, but I should add 1. So if you said 47, you're smart and I'm dumb. And then we clean this up to get the answer, and I'm hoping that makes sense. All right?